Hello, ladies. So, for those who liked my mixed media fabric book, I am going to make a little bit of a tutorial or explanation how I was doing and what I was doing and what I have learned from it myself. The first thing is that I have prepared the ingredients for this, which is actually the fabrics. As you can see that I have actually painted them myself. So I will explain a little bit about the fabric, how I went about it. It's not, I haven't found anywhere, or I didn't look for tutorials how to paint on fabric or what should be done. I just simply took acrylic paints and I started just putting them on the different kind of scrap fabrics that I had at home to see what result I will get. So this is just leftovers that I have from the fabrics. This is just normal jeans. These are my old jeans pants that I was going to throw away. So it's literally just adding different kind of acrylic paints. I'm not sure if it's in a frame. I have here some few leftovers that I'm trying to use up. This kind of colors. It's not much, but those were actually those that I used for this. So just leftovers of this. And this white is actually just white gesso. So it's stenciling with white gesso, and later on I also used white gesso for stamping. So this is again just jeans. I suggest to use the fabric that is thick, you know, in a way more like a canvas, thicker. What I used was jeans are really good. So I have here actually like normal jeans, yeah, just a piece of jeans. They are actually stretchy, so it's stretching. Here I was also stretching it, and the color is actually holding on, so it didn't do anything to the paint, not to the colors but to the paint. So I'm stretching it and it's still okay. Then I have this this was a table sheet, so it's also kind of like canvas, yeah. I would say, I don't know if it's cotton or linen or whatever fabric it is. And the last one that I tried, because I have a lot of it, this table sheet was big. I have like 5 pair of jeans that need to do some that I need to do some recycling about. And this one, oh my gosh, this is so bright. It's really like a neon color, and I'm getting headache looking at it for too long. I got it. It was some Halloween costume for some kid, and whoever was trying to get rid of it gave it to me. So I have a big pile of this and I don't know what to do with it. So I thought I could use it for this project. The thing is that this fabric is kind of velvety if you look at it. So it has this kind of like a this furry part, or how to call it, this very smooth hairy part, or fluffy. And this is the other side that is that is more like a net, looking like a net. So I tried to paint on both sides. I get the same result. The thing is that this is very fine fabric, so the paint, the paint really got through immediately. It didn't stay on the surface, it's absorbed. So I had everything under also immediately wet, and the fabric hardened quite a lot. So I'm going to show you. So this is actually that bright, shiny thing. So I had to put the colors, tone the colors really down a lot. So that's actually exactly the same. And this is also the same, but you see how it folds, how it really got hard. On this one, if I'm not mistaken, I even used gesso, clear gesso. I wanted to try if it will allow me to work better. It maybe did, but yeah, this is not what I wanted, that it will be so hard. I still wanted it have this kind of texture of a fabric. This is already turning into more like a plastic. So, and my sewing machine had difficulties with this. So is this one. So I would suggest to keep with kind of like canvas style cotton, you know, this kind of jeans material, something really hard. They don't soak through, and the paint and the colors, everything remains on the top. Here I'm stretching it. It kind of breaks, but it comes back. So this is literally, I just put, I think, like brown or red color into this shiny thing, and it was all wet, so I had to wait till it dries. It takes really forever this to dry. This was much easier. And then I did just some splashing of the colors of the paints. There is some stenciling. This is a stamping with white gesso. As you can see, this is the tablecloth, so it's some stamping. I have a black ink for fabric, which I have forever because I bought it once. It was together like a set with stamps for fabric or something, and there was also this ink, and that ink I have already like for 4 years at least, and I've never used it, so I used it actually here, and it did a really good job. I was trying a normal StazOn, but my StazOn is getting dry and it doesn't even print well on a paper, and it didn't print good at all on the fabric. So if you have a new StazOn, actually, ink, I think it could work, but mine is very old. I even bought this extra ink in a bottle to add. I added it, but it had no effect. It still remains the same, just barely gray on the paper. So I didn't try it, to be honest, but you go ahead. If you have a StazOn black ink or any other inks, just go ahead and try. I mean, experiment. This is also my experiment. This is actually there is a stenciling. So first a painting a little bit and stenciling with gold, and these lines, that's actually just a normal black permanent marker. So I just made lines. So you can, if you don't have stamps or black ink, you can just make your own designs. If you have a permanent marker or something, you can just draw on it. I mean, why not? So there you go. It works. So you can use a permanent marker on it. So this was a stenciling and stamping and my hand painting in it. This was also just different kind of stenciling. This was just some random stamping, stenciling, painting over. I mean, whatever paints I had on hand, I was just slapping on and see if I like the result. And this is like a tablecloth also, but this is something between like a paper and a fabric, hard to describe. So that's something that I also used in my journal. I just used also some normal fabrics that I had, and I got this from a swap from someone. It was whatever swap, art swap, and I see that the person also did with acrylic paints some splashes of silver. So that also gave me pretty much idea why couldn't I try. I think this kind of fabric, it looks like a cotton, would be also good for this kind of painting on. And I used also just a, this is kind of fabric I got from someone, and I use also this one, but not to, I didn't paint on it, I didn't do, I just use it as it is. It has already so many colors. So I have this here because I wanted to tell you that on the tags I was going to make everything nice and puffy, you know, that I would add between the paper and the fabric to add something to stuff it, so it has this resin effect, because that's what I saw on the original video. The lady, she was doing that. The problem is that this one is too thick. It didn't look nice. I think I have done one of them. Not sure which one anymore. Yeah, this one. This one is filled with that, so maybe you can see that it's a little bit, has this puffiness. But it's too high. I was worried that my journal will get too stuffed because I already added, I think, 2 more pages, double pages compared to what I saw in original. And she had it really nice, like flat laying, and also when she was going through it, it was laying nicely. Mine is getting already to be, see, the pages are sliding because it is too high. So think about amount of pages. I would not do as many pages as I have anymore. So if I will do a next one, definitely 2 less. So 2 here, 2 there, so to have less pages. So it's not, you know, it's not rolling down on you. And yeah, I don't really like it much when they are standing and you are forced to either write or do anything or look at it sideways, you know, or just force it to hold it. It should be naturally comfortable, but yeah, of course, I do have many journals like that that are really chunky. Sometimes it's nice and I like it, sometimes it's annoying me, so depending on my mood. Anyway, so I used this, but I used it only on one. Then I tried on one to use just a normal felt, but it still felt too much and I was worried that it will get really too chunky. So I stopped stuffing it, also because my sewing machine is rather cheap sewing machine and had difficulties to saw through all of it. So I just stopped. I wanted to just do some really quick thing here. Little bit of paint to show you. These are really old. Oh, come on. They are already like hard, some of those paints, so it's difficult to get them out. But I want to use them up. I mean, some of them are still relatively okay, so I water it down a little bit because this one was really hard like rock. And the more you water it down, the more the water soaks in and it goes through. So I'm looking at it now, I'm getting the idea because I see that it keeps or captures the folds, or how you call it, the form of what's under it. That maybe we could do, or I could try this, how you call it, oh, I don't know if it has a name, this opposite stenciling, that you actually put the stencil under. Let me see if we can get it work on the other one. I have here some stencil. Maybe you can use both sides. I used also this light one or the dark one, whatever you prefer. I will probably use this light one now. Not sure if you see what I see. Maybe I should have. Yeah, the stencil moved, so I'm getting second lines here, but I'm hoping you're getting the idea what I'm trying to do here. Maybe I could try here with a different color. Yeah, this might be also just too wet, but I hope you see what I'm trying to show you here. I'm not sure if it's visible on the camera. I made it a little bit too wet, so I'm trying to get the wet here off on the sides. Maybe I could use this to get the result that I want. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Just experimenting here for you. Little bit. So if you see the lines here, it a little bit worked. This kind of stencil, and I was wondering, I'm trying to get rid of this paint. I have the most of it, so let's see if I can. For stenciling, you shouldn't be having your paint too wet, let's say, because it will soak under. So it has to be as dry as possible, I guess. But in such case, you will have higher usage probably of the paint. So this was, for me, a good way to get rid of these old paints that are more or less anyway nearly dry. And I'm trying to get rid of them because I want to, it's taking space. It's more or less about the space. I mean, I can buy already the new paint, the new colors, but the thing is I am running out of space here. I'm adding a little bit more water here on the sponge because it seems too dry, but not too much, as I said. So let's see if I can tame this pink. All right, here we go. Here is the result. You see that the paint came through. So now don't touch this part so you don't smudge it, and let it dry. So this is the result. So I'm going to put it aside to dry. I'm using just cosmetic sponges, as many of you do too. Okay, I will throw myself here a little bit of water aside. So this is how it goes. I mean, easy peasy, the same thing as you would do on the paper. So now when I'm talking about the paper, I just want to mention that yeah, I also did the same way paper that I made ahead, the same like I prepared this kind of fabric. So the same way I decorated the paper, I used watercolor paper, and I used acrylic and even gouache. So I mixed everything, pretty much all the colors that I had, whatever I just needed. And yeah, I just went with my guts with whatever designs on the papers, and nothing really specific to say there. So on the paper, I'm sure most of you already can figure out the mixed media thing, how to do that. And yeah, nothing really special about there. I was mixing, as I said, many different kind of paints all together, and it was just the drying time. I really hate this drying time when you're stuck. You know, I had all the watercolor paper wet, and I sprayed or splashed some colors over it, and then I had to wait forever till it dries to give it stenciling or another layer of whatever I wanted to have on it. So yeah, that's the thing. I do have how you call it, this drying tool, but I'm mostly working on it in the middle of the night, and my neighbors probably would not be happy to hear it. So this is how the stenciling on it looks. Here we go, closer look. And then you can still do another layer of stenciling, stamping. I mean, once it's dry, you can do the writing with here permanent marker. If you have a different colors, you can of course probably use a different colors, so you can do your own thing what you want. If you don't have a stencil, I mean, go creative on it. Yeah, so they do work. On this is still wet. Guess it will be better when it's dries out. So yeah, that's the example how I was working on the fabric. Yeah, so that's, and this is the bright and shiny. I will probably give it because this is still probably too bright for me, so I may give it once it's completely dried. From the back side, I will maybe paint it in brown or red to get the undercolor, because this soaks through very easy, so I may give it another layer, or from the top, I don't know. I will see what I will still do. So I will let these dry, and I will continue for the next. I am jumping back just because I forgot to answer one question. And there was a question, how do I seal or preserve or varnish this fabric? I don't. The idea of doing this painting on a fabric, it came so spontaneous that I didn't even think about varnishing it, to be perfectly honest, at the time. And I don't know, I would have to do some research, and that's like too much work for me. I am really a person of action. When I have a mood and I have an idea, I just go for it, and I don't really think much about future consequences. It will be a learning curve eventually, I guess.